Well, hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to Along for the Ride here on Along for the Ride. Along for the Ride on Along for the Ride. That's pretty bad. Anyways, let's try that again. Hey, YouTube. Welcome back to Along for the Ride. I know it's been a while since we've done a video, but we're here in the shop, and unfortunately, the bracket for my windshield broke on my Spyder as I was driving the one day, enjoying that beautiful fall weather. And we're going to be in the process of fixing that. But I'm not going to do a full step-by-step kind of how to fix video, but I know when I look in myself at the videos on how to do this, it's pretty straightforward. Quite a bit of stuff here that has to come off. So if you're not familiar with what I'm doing, this bracket here that holds the weight of the windshield and moves up and down to adjust the windshield snapped off. It's the original one. This is a 2010. So it's been on there for a while. But all this plasticky stuff around the outside here has to come off. And nobody really tells you about how it all comes off, and it's a lot of nuts and bolts. First thing we're gonna do is pop off these mirrors, and they're really easy to do because I've got the magnetic things on there. Then we're gonna pull those off for sure, because that's easy to do. And then I believe if we open this up, this is gonna come out. Some bolts around here, we'll get this front cowl off. I'm not really sure how this comes off yet. It might be from the front dash. That's what we're gonna figure out. And but we'll kind of give you a step-by-step process of what we're pulling off and that kind of thing. I don't have a tripod back here today, which is not very good YouTube etiquette, but I'll show you kind of what's going on here, all right? So we pop the mirrors off. That's really easy to do because I've got these magnetic pieces on here that if you own a Spyder, definitely worth the $100 or whatever it is, $150 upgrade. They make the mirrors far more stable than the little clips that were on there, and they make them so much easier to take on and off. So well worth the money spent on those magnetic holders. They might have to get loosened off because I believe a lot of these bolts have to come off as well. We're gonna take these off first, which is just a Torx screw in there. And I'm getting a lot of comments lately on using impacts to do this kind of work. The impact is, to me, is just another tool, and if you use it properly, this one's got tension settings on it as well. So you never want to fully tighten something with an impact drill, but when you're dealing with long screws and stuff, this is a nice way to get them on and off. Certainly off, the impact isn't an issue, but putting them on, you definitely don't want to impact them too tight. And it's all about understanding how to use the tool and making sure you don't over torque stuff. So I disagree that you shouldn't be using them. You just need to know how to use them properly. That's my opinion. We're gonna pop the body clips out of here to pull this off so we can get at this panel here. So just to quickly review here, I forgot to mention I started with taking the windshield off. And if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, you would have known that because I drove for a bit without it, getting the wind in my hair kind of feel. Definitely different. I definitely prefer the windshield on, but that was an easy piece to take off. Here you can see the part that was broken. And they are just the lock washer clips on the 3 pins. So that's number 1. Number 2, remove your mirrors. Number 3, side wind deflectors. 4, these panels. And 5, we're gonna take off this front headlight cowl. We got some bolts on the side, bolts underneath your mirrors, and there are 2 bolts underneath here that have to come out as well. And then I believe this whole piece comes forward. But we'll see. I don't think I have to pull the side pieces off. Hoping I don't. All right, so that front cowl's not moving, which means we need to move into the side panel here. And we've got some bolts to take out of it. Back here underneath the seat. And I believe if we pop these off, pop that off there. How does that come off again? I gotta get this side piece off here, this molding piece. Forget how that comes off. There we go. There we are. Oh, so there's no other bolt there. Okay. That's good. That's the lower front piece if you're doing your fog lights, which I think we're gonna do in the fall maybe. But we gotta get this off here because I think there's a bolt hiding under here for the front cowl. So I got a bolt at the back. Bolts are all loose here. Oh, we're gonna have to loosen off this magnetic piece so we can get that just sitting a little loose. And we should be good. So there, remove the light for you. Took out this bolt here, and that was all that was really holding it on except for this magic mirror piece here. We just loosened that off so we could pull it off, and we're good. So now you can see here, we got this second bolt. Oh, we got this second bolt here for the front cowl. So we'll have to do that on both sides and that front piece should come off. Okay, that was a big step number 5. So part of step number 5 is to pull these side panels off. You know, the light here, side panel and little side panel down here. Just the 1 bolt And 2, if you don't have the magnetic clips, I just loosen that magnetic clip off. And now we can see that the black panel is held on through these wind deflectors, and here on the front, 3 more bolts. So I might have to take my camera mount or my phone mount off in order to remove that as well, because it's tied in right here, going through there. So we'll see what happens when we get these bolts out. And there we have it. We have access to the piece we need to fix and replace right here, taking this apart. And that's where most videos start to take up the process. But this will give you a quick understanding of how the panels come off. And I've been at this for a total of probably 20 minutes max, getting those panels off. So it's not a big job. Although now that I've got it all apart, I'm thinking this would be a great opportunity to pull the lights out and replace them with LEDs. Not sure I'm going to do that right now, but the weather isn't great and it's getting close to the winter season, so maybe now is a good time to do that. Not sure I'm going to get riding in there, and I'm away this weekend, so I could order them. Shout out to spyderaccessories.com. That's where I ordered the part from. Let me show you what the part looks like. So here's the new part from spyderaccessories.com. Quite a bit beefier than the one that is OEM, that's for sure. And one of the big things about this whole process is if you do this from the dealership, they want you to replace this whole assembly here from bracket to bracket, and it's $900. This was $2. See the difference here looking at the 2 of them? This is a lot stronger. So that's gonna go in there and I'll have a proper lift again. Looks like it's a good opportunity maybe to take some time to clean the bike as well. All this in here, not that we see it often, but give it a good wipe down, good cleaning. That'll make me feel better about putting it back together when it's clean as well. So quickly, we did. Number 1 was the windshield. Number 2, mirrors, side deflectors, and these cover pieces for the coolant and stuff. They popped off. Then we went over and took these all side panels off, which allowed us access to this panel here, which then gave us access to all the bolts around the headlight cowl. And then once that was off, we were able to get this piece off, and I did have to take the bolts out of the top, so if you don't have a mount, you're still gonna have bolts there that hold that on, and this thing just simply lifted up and came off, and now we have access to that to repair what we need to repair. Well, there we have it. Thanks for joining us here along for the ride, and we've got all the panels off, and it's about 8 o'clock, so I think we're gonna keep going here and take the rest of that part off and see how we do. Interesting enough, this is a Torx on this side, and then these are Phillips screw heads. Definitely want to be careful with this. This is the original. This is a 2010 or 13 years later. Definitely put lots of pressure on your Phillips screw heads when you're pulling them out, and go nice and slow because you definitely don't want to strip these out. Not sure why they're different, but I'm sure there is a reason somewhere for that. So let's see, able to pull the 4 bolts out without any issues, without stripping anything. And these actually popped off pretty easily. I don't know if that's because of the age or whatever, but the grease is looking okay in here. And that just pops out. It's a little gummy, the grease, so I might clean her all up. So this could be pretty daunting working on something like this with all these panels and stuff. I agree. If you just take your time and keep everything organized, you can see here I've got everything organized, trying to keep all my nuts and bolts in the places they need to be. And if you just take your time, you can do just about anything. Don't need a lot of specific tools for this, and you're good to go. Just take your time and lay things out nice and neat and make sure we're not dropping things on bad floors, and you're in good shape, okay? Again, this would be a $1,000 part from the dealership and probably an hour or more worth of labor, maybe not. So $100 an hour or so. So whereas it cost me $200 for the part, and now it's costing me some time. So all good if you like to be handy. So in most videos, people are marking everything and sliding this off or sliding that off. I already determined that this slides off pretty easily, and my magnet isn't moving anywhere. So I've just got it in the vise here and pulling out these pins here. These are just pins, and they're a 2.5 millimeter punch if you've got one. I'm using a 2.5 millimeter Allen key, which seems to be enough. They're a little tight, so I'm a little concerned. I haven't tried this one yet, but I'm just gonna punch those out, leave it all assembled, and then what I'm just gonna do is slide this piece off, slide this magnet end off because it comes off really easy, slide my new one on, just leave everything kind of oriented exactly the way it is, and then slide this piece back on, and I should be good to go. This isn't taking long at all, so I would certainly suggest that if you've had this happen, check out spyderaccessories.com. This looks like a great piece of equipment right there. Great machining, great finish, all that kind of stuff. Give them a shout out, and think about doing this yourself. It's not too bad. All right, so just want to point out here, I've got my pins out. This piece from spyderaccessories.com doesn't need the pins. It's got this nice Allen key, lock key on it. See the hex pattern there. So we're not going to need the pins, so I'm not going to be able to line up this in the center, let's say center, quotations. So I've lined it up now. I took a measurement here, and I've got that measurement locked in, so that what I can do is slide this one off. These look to be about exactly the same in terms of width. So I can slide this one off, slide the new one on, and lock it in place. And I've got like this little notch here on the end of my magnetic piece showing the top here. So I'm just gonna, like, everything is moving freely. I already know this moves freely. That does. I'm gonna pop this off, set it down here, slide this off, slide the new one on, and not even worrying about marking it. I think it's gonna be a very easy sort of setup. So we're all back together. Everything is oriented properly. One thing I wanna point out is you might wanna crack this set screw loose first, so that you know you can slide it on exactly where it needs to go. But I'm gonna tighten that up and make sure this measurement is good, and then we're gonna put it back in and we're done. That was an easy fix. Might be able to ride tomorrow if the weather's nice. So there we have it, sitting back in its place. I just put a little bit more grease on there because I had some. Put some on the magnet end of it here, and we are good to go. I'm gonna just cover this up and put the bracket, cover the bracket up and stuff, and get this all covered up. And then I'm gonna leave it, because I'm gonna leave it for another day so that I can wash it and get her all cleaned up, and then I'll put it together slowly. But we're just gonna go in reverse. So that's how you get to that point and how you switch it out. That piece is gonna look great on there, especially because it's all black. It'll mend right in. So thanks for joining us here on Along for the Ride. And again, if you've got a Spyder or you're doing some work, take a look at YouTube, see what's out there. There's lots of great people doing videos to show you how to do things. And if you've got a little bit of time, a little bit of talent, and a little bit of tools, you might be able to do it yourself and save yourself some money. You always want to check to make sure that it works before you put it all back together.